And we're live. Tonight, so far, it's just going to be me and Ted. He's holding up his HVAC20 tag for his new Cybertruck.
I wonder if AI will make a special clip of that.
Yeah, and Reedy should be here in a little bit. He said he was going to be on his way, so we should be getting graced with Reedy in a little bit. But before then, so what we got for tonight? What are we going to be going over?
Well, I guess the next thing that Eric's going to be working on, I hope, is connecting with Service Titan and other software so that people don't have to double enter when they have a prospect.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be important that all prospects go into the software because we're also going to be tracking performance, sales performance.
Yeah.
So he's been spending a lot of time thinking about how to do that. And one of the things that I'd like to see is, we really talk a lot about revenue per lead. And I'd also like to have an understanding of gross profit per lead. And I think you brought that up a little bit at our last meeting.
Yeah.
You want to be able to understand, if you got a $10,000 job, is that 6,000 profit, 5,000 profit, 4,000 profit, 3,500? Because some people are going to be able to make pretty good gross revenue, but then they're not making the company a lot of money. And so maybe they need to sharpen some of their sales skills if they're giving equipment away.
Yeah.
Also, I think that these bigger jobs tend to, there's really no way right now that I can think of to track whether or not callbacks. I guess if you're going to start really leaning into paying attention to warranty reserve, that's one way of doing it. But it'd be nice to be able to distinguish between callbacks due to something that happened at the kitchen table, like the design, or callbacks due to something that happened with the install.
Yeah.
If you have expense associated to a job due to callbacks, and that's going to affect margin, but should that cost be attributed to the salesperson, or should it be attributed to the installer service department? Sort of unfair to attribute it to the salesperson if it's a screw up he had no control over.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, if your salesperson is making mistakes that are causing callbacks, it would be nice to, track that so that you can nip it in the bud. So those are some of the things that, I'm thinking about. And then just trying to make using the process easier and easier, so it's not such a lift.
Yeah.
I think Kajabi does a pretty good job of getting people, so that they have a basic foundation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think Kajabi definitely does that. I feel like we're probably more software constrained than anything, just because it's more of a usability. Once the software becomes far more friendly in terms of just usability, I mean, the process obviously works. Like the whole
Right.
system that's built that functions. It's just, is there? It's really just the hiccups within the software that kind of like adds unnecessary friction. And I think with integrations with things like that, we'll eliminate a lot of that unnecessary friction.
Yeah, and ideally, like right now, everybody that's here is a black belt. Um, but people that are coming in, they're going to be white belts, right? And so you
Hmm.
want to make it to the point where if a white belt is motivated and smart enough that it's just obvious to them. Oh my gosh, I can't believe like some of the guys had been looking for comfort console. You know,
Hmm.
oh, this is exactly what I've been looking for to try and solve some of those more difficult problems.
Hmm.
Um, but those are the people that really, I mean, you guys went through a long learning process to be able to do what you do.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about the salespeople, probably not owners. So owners wear a lot of hats. So do they really want to learn this? Only if they're doing sales.
And I mean, I would be surprised for the smaller shops, especially, a few people, the odds that the owner isn't doing the sales, very low. I mean, I feel like the only scenario that would be the case is like a partnership type thing where it's like I do the service, I do the install, but he does the he
Right.
does the sales. I feel like that's the only scenario where that wouldn't be the case.
Right. Right. And that person has to be kind of tired of shooting from the hip sales and be looking
Yeah.
for a repeatable
Yeah.
process.
Well, I mean, for someone like that, because if you're at that stage, you only have, I mean, e- either one of three things to do from that point. Either accept you're not going to scale, you're always going to be at the same level that you're at. You're going to, from the ground up, build your own repeatable sales system and process, or you're going to go get someone else that already has sales training and bring them on. And it's like, okay, either the more realistic is you'll just stay where you're at. Uh, the less realistic is that you're going to find someone that you can bring on and is going to work well. Of like, oh, this guy already knows sales and he can already do it. Very less likelihood, uh, or even far more or far less likely is that you're going to spend the time needed to build your own sales process from the ground up, make it repeatable, and then have something to be able to pass over to the person that you want to take the reins for that particular role. So it's like kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think we've got to find people who have businesses that want to have a better understanding of what the salespeople are doing in the home.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's when I was out there doing this, we'd have our meetings and the recap, I kept feeling bad for the owner because the recaps were incredibly vague. And I was empathizing with him. I was thinking, geez, if I was him, I'd want a better understanding of what was done with my leads,
Yeah.
because he spent 250 or $500 in marketing to get those leads. And for that kind of money, I kind of want to know what you did with it
Yeah.
and what happened.
Hmm.
And um,
Well, you need to know that.
that might have been part of what was behind wanting to develop the free quote process in this is like, let's have an understanding of what had happened with those leads and make sure that they're optimized. And that's where I started thinking, well, in order to prove that that's worthwhile, I guess I probably want to convince them that they're going to get more revenue per lead if they follow this process. Not so there's stacking benefits. It's not just you're going to know what was done with the leads, but you're also going to know that they were handled well.
Yeah.
The guy didn't go to the house and say, "Show me to the basement."
Yeah.
I do hear a lot of people are complaining about not being able to, nobody wants to spend money. I mean, these perennial complaints where everybody acts like this is something new, or, oh, they're competing in an environment that's nobody else has ever competed in, or somehow the world has changed. I mean, the world changed with COVID, but the change of COVID is basically telling the homeowner, you know, before COVID, prices on equipment changed every 6 to 12 months. Now it's every 1 to 4. So, and that can be used to our advantage, because you can say
Mhm.
prices change every 1 to 4 months. So if you're just right now doing sort of your research, there's not really any point in my giving you a specific bid, but might make sense to help you build your replacement specification based on your rough budget.
Yeah.
And that'll slow down people and keep them from getting. I mean, if you go to budget too soon, people get confused, and a confused mind says no.
Yes.
And they also then they're trying to figure out how they can make their comparisons and make their decisions, and they start asking you for 7 or 8 different pricing.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is getting our processes out of order. You really need to figure out whether you want the heated and cooled seats. Instead of asking me, okay, so how much is it with heated seats? How much is it with cooled seats? How much is it?
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know how Porsche dealers handle it, because everything costs, you know, everything is customizable. Um, that makes for a very
Yeah.
long specification build.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and if
But
people don't have a budget when they go to if they don't have a price range when they go to build their specification on a Porsche, then they're gonna probably end up having to cut a whole lot of things that they thought they wanted. Um,
oh, yeah.
so pain, money, and then decision, and decision is when you get your bids.
Yeah. I mean, it kinda from what I've kind of noticed is it seems like that budget the initial, if you wanna call it budget step, is really just to cut out the extremes that's completely out of the question. So, like, you're gonna have some people that are gonna be like, "Don't even offer me a single stage because I'm not even gonna talk to you." And then you'll have some people that's like, "If you offer me the $33,000 option, it's completely out of the question." So it's
Right.
like, for me, what I've kind of noticed is with the smiley faces, it's having the price ranges in there. It's simply just to start to kind of funnel them into the area that they really want to be. And then
Mhm.
and since it's a wide range, it's something that it makes it a factor, but it's not the sole factor because there's not a number there. There's just
Right.
a range. So then it's like, okay, well, I've got this range, but then I have all this other stuff. And so then you can see people actually starting to weigh the differences and going, well, I really do want something that controls the humidity well, or I really do want this. And so then it kind of makes it a little different,
It
but
allows them to work through that
yeah,
sort of decision-making process without really you being involved.
yeah,
They're working at it with themselves, which I think is how they prefer to have the salesperson be the guide and not the hero.
yeah. You're letting visuals do the selling portion for you versus like you said, don't not going to budget too soon. If you go to budget too soon of going, if someone says, "Oh, well, how much what does a new unit cost?" And if you just went, "Oh, well, it would cost, let's say, for a 3 ton, just like you've got," I mean, you're going to come out right at $10,200.
Right.
Well, now that's what is
Now they're
anchored to
anchored.
what you're anchored there, and that is gonna be the sole thing that they're gonna, like, compare things to. It's like, okay, now it's this price versus whoever else's price that they're looking to get.
Too soon.
I seen someone actually complaining about this on Facebook of where they were like, I got beat out by somebody that was, or they were reiterating an email that was sent to them of basically telling them, "Hey, we're actually going to go with someone else because they were $2,000 cheaper." And it's like, and then they were kind of giving the whole background and stuff. But like, as I was reading it, as soon as I got past the like, okay, this is a little whiny, but whatever. It just screams like, for something like that to happen, I don't know, maybe I'm biased in just my experience, but to me, that is like, okay, you missed something. Like you screwed something up in that process because they were only going your price versus their price. And I think one of the things that they were like the person was complaining about is going, "Oh, well, I was offering Train and they were offering Goodman. Of course they're $2,000 cheaper." And it's like, I mean, that's a you problem. Like,
That's a
you
you
know,
problem. You didn't help that homeowner look at you
yeah,
as anything more than a ticket clerk.
yeah. Oh, that is exactly it. And so it's like you can't get mad at the homeowner for going, "Oh, well, I'm going with so and so with the Goodman system because it's $2,000 cheaper." Because obviously you never had the exercise of going, "Hey, is budget the only thing that matters to you?" Because if it is, I just want you to know I only offer Train. Train's just going to be more expensive. And if more expensive is just the immediate turnoff, if quality's not as important to you, which is perfectly okay, I just want you to know I'm not probably the best fit for you. You might want to look somewhere else and eliminate all this unnecessary work or make them go, "Oh, well, I mean, price does matter, but, I don't want to get junk. Like I want to get some, okay, well, good,
This
we
is a
can help
15 to
you."
20-year decision, so
Yeah.
how do you wanna think about it?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you can make them come to the realization that price isn't the only thing that matters on their own. And then it's going to be up to you to guide them as to understanding what the differences will be because they don't know. I mean, HVAC is like, what's better, Ford or Chevy? You know, if there were a Tesla option, it'd be easy to be like, okay, we'll just get the Cybertruck because it's better. But that's a totally different story for a different day. But
Only a few of us understand that.
be like, "What's that? You want the Cybertruck?" Well, unfortunately, they don't have that in HVAC currently. If you could spend the same amount of money for way better of a truck, I mean, it'd be nice for HVAC. But anyways, it's like it, and also it's like in a lot of these posts that I see, the way that they'll word it is they'll be like, "Oh, well, here's another." It's this like, why is this always the situation type framing when they word these stories. And to me is it sticks out of going, okay, if you have the same repeated problems, maybe you should analyze and go, okay, what are the commonalities here? Oh,
Well, I think they probably are saying, "Hey, help me, because I keep running into this problem."
yeah. Well, some of them they just
Except
want to
when you make
complain.
a suggestion, "Hey, that I may have a way." If I had a way to solve that problem for you, would you be willing to do the work that it takes to learn how to solve it?
Hmm.
Or are you just here to bitch?
Unfortunately, I think a lot of them that they're just there to bitch
They're
because
just there to whine.
yeah, oh yeah. Because then you can read some of the comments of somebody going, because there'll be some people that like they're trying to help this person, whether they're right or wrong, different, it doesn't matter. But like then the person is just purely on the defensive of all the replies. Be like, oh,
Right.
you don't understand this one. This one happened, da da da. And it's like, I mean, if that's what makes you feel better, if you would prefer to just not solve the problem and just come to Facebook and complain all the time, more power to you. But you know
Mm.
you're just going to continue the same thing over and over. It's crazy.
So, and the other thing that you were talking about is your lineup that I think people might be interested in, and your thinking
Mhm,
behind it, because that
mhm.
sounded interesting to me. Sounds like you have kind of 6 standard levels.
Uh, 5.
Okay.
and this is for split heat pumps. So the way I've been doing this is so uh, for I'm trying to think how to frame this.
It's
So
a very basic package,
yeah, well, I have
single
so I have
stage.
I've got five like options, and the way that I typically lay this out is my options kind of start with number two and work its way up because number two is a Bryant single stage,
Okay.
and the reason that I kind of say that is I have a tier that is below like basic single stage. I call it the
Your
budget
budget is
option.
all that matters. What do you call it?
Yeah, I call it it's just the budget option.
The
And
budget option.
what the budget option is if I'm at someone's house, because this is something that sometimes I show it, a lot of times I don't even give it as an option. It all
Okay.
comes down to when I ask them the question, like if I'm getting the sense that price is a big factor, like I'll ask them, hey, is price the only factor for you? Like, is that your biggest concern? If they say yes, or if they seem like they might say yes, or if they indirectly say it, then I'm throwing in this budget option. And what the budget option is it's basically what is the cheapest equipment that I can get my hands on, in which the supplier that I'm getting it from has good support. So I don't like I'm okay with dealing with cheaper equipment. I'm just not okay with dealing with crappy suppliers in which I don't have good support. So the
That makes
so
good sense to me.
so I'll have, and you can, I mean, everybody has their whatever their cheapest equipment they can get is, and so I have that on the bottom option. And when I do these, this is typically I'm I'm replacing a box and reusing as much as possible. And
Right.
I'm very transparent with the customer with this, as I say, hey, you know, I'm going to work everything I can to get you as cheap of a price for me to do it as I can. But just so you know, I'm going to be reusing your disconnect. I'm going to be reusing your line set. We'll wipe it with a pipe wiper. We'll clean it out the best we can, but it's not going to be clean copper, and reusing some of these things. And so then I can just give them, and it's still going to be more expensive than chucking a truck that doesn't know how to price yet. Like it's not a $6,000 option, but
Right.
it's something that I can go, hey, is budget the only thing you care about? And that's kind of like a low end anchor per se. So that way, because a lot of people, they don't want to feel like that they are getting an inflated price, meaning they don't want to feel like that because they're going with you, they're spending a premium,
Mm,
period. So if they feel like that
right.
there is, like if a budget option does exist, so they're like, oh, well, I could spend very little. I just want to get these better options. So it makes the better options seem better in that sense, to where they're not just inflated. If and I'm doing this by I'm not saying it directly. I'm just doing it with how I'm laying it out. So then there's the Bryant single stage option, which is the kind of the number two option. That's just kind of the basic package. That's a, hey, if you're looking for a single stage, here it is. I don't recommend it. It's just a super basic option, but it's whatever. Then I go up to, which is what I've been calling it the value option. Or I say I have two value options. I have the lower cost value option, and then I have the high performance value option, however you want to word that. And that is the Daikin Fit, Goodman SD, Amana S Series, whatever. Mine's is Goodman branded, but it's all the same equipment. So I have that as in that value option because that's something that can be very attractive because you get a lot of good features and you get a lot of good performance at a pretty cheap price. And it's something that when you look at what the new 454 single stage equipment prices are, it makes the Daikin Fit seem like like it seems like a no-brainer to at least go with that option if you don't go one up from there, because it's just a few $1,000s difference and there is astronomically better performance. And then up from there, which is another going to be, I feel like the Daikin Fit and this next option is going to be what a lot of people tend to go for, and it's going to be the new 20 seer from Carrier, Bryant, ICP. I sell Bryant, so it's the for the Bryant people, it's the 290 model.
We're
Uh,
starting to call that a baby green speed.
yeah, it's really what it is. It was what's replaced their five stage. It's just all the only negative aspects of what the five stage used to have now is gone with this new 290. I mean, it's a 20 seer, variable speed, fully variable speed, and heating performance down to -11. I don't know what more do you
That's
want.
amazing.
I don't know what more you want. With the electric reheat dehumidification, which is what makes that line of equipment just above everything else. Uh, and
Mhm.
then and then what I'm gonna do, or what I'm currently doing, is I take the 23 SEER, which is the top end option for Bryant. That's
Daddy
gonna be
the
my
Daddy green speed.
yes, that is I'm price anchoring that by, you know, I'm able to go, hey, you you know, if someone asks, hey, what's the price range of equipment? Okay, well, it's anywhere between 85, 9,000 up to 34,000. Where do you think you're falling? And you can use that super top end option. There's uh, a guy on YouTube, Alex Ramosa, he talks about price anchoring things when you give pricing is, throw out that really high ridiculous one first. And the reason that you do that is someone says, hey, well, what's a good unit is? Oh, well, a good unit price. I mean, we're talking like $34,000. And then when they go, oh, and like you kind of see them set back, and then you go, but we have some other options. We got something that's really close to that, but it's more in the 23, 24,000. But if you're not feeling that, you can go down. We're kind of in the 15 to 17,000. And so by throwing out 34,000 right out the gate, you're going to make those other ones not seem as high had you have given those first. And
Right.
there's like a story that I've heard people say of how it's like a tailor that makes suits. You come in and they put on they put you in this really nice suit, and you're like, wow, this looks amazing. It feels amazing. How much does this cost? And they're like, oh, it's $150,000. And you go, oh no.
Oh,
and
no.
and it's like uh and then he goes, oh well, I didn't, what is kind of your price range? Oh, I'm like 2,000. Oh well, let me go find you something else. And that being, the tailor did not intend to sell that $150,000 suit to you. He was just making a $2,000 suit seem way more tolerable.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of the same thing happening there. As you give them, hey, like, do you want the super top end option that does everything? Probably not. Well, would you be willing to give up a little bit to not spend as much? Probably so. And so by price anchoring it that way is a good way to kind of push people into that middle options. That's why, everybody has all their different variants of studies of going, okay, when you do good, better, best, most people pick better. There's a reason for it. And, figure out that's why I've kind of made that Daikin Fit and the Bryant 20 seer, using those as that better option where most people are going to fall. And I line everything up that way just because, like, I mean, those lines of equipment are damn good. And
People are
anyone that,
really, really happy with them.
yes, extremely. Like, you don't have, I mean, yes, I have the 23 seer at my house, but like, not everybody needs that. But uh, for
Well,
the
particularly now
price,
with that cold climate performance.
yeah. Yeah, and then if you're in a colder climate, I know they have, so there's the 290, which is the 20 SEER. They have was it a 291, which is a cold climate, like
Okay.
green speed essentially, and then there's the 293. I've not looked at the 291, or I'm pretty sure it's the 291. Uh, I've not looked into that just because like it doesn't do me any good. I don't need it. I don't even think they sell them in my area. But again, that might be your middle, like, better
Sweet spot.
option. Yeah, and that's, like, figure out what equipment has the best bang for its buck, and then structure everything around that to kind of funnel people towards it, because it's like, hey, if people end up with this, they're gonna be way better off, you
So
know?
I have a question. If you're going with a hybrid, is there any reason to get the Daddy green speed? Or does that just sort of you know, doesn't unless you're gonna go straight heat pump, doesn't make sense to go with that better equipment.
Uh, um, are you talking in regards to, like, the Daikin Fit versus the
Well, no,
Bryant, or are
I'm
you
thinking
talking about
about
the 23 and the 20?
the baby green speed and the full green speed.
I
I mean, if you're
I
gonna go
really
straight hybrid, maybe
yeah.
you would go to the full green speed, but if you're I mean, straight heat pump, you maybe would do it, but if you're gonna go with a hybrid, what's the point of spending the extra money on the better heat pump?
I don't know. I don't know what I really don't know what the difference is in straight heat pump or dual hybrid right now. I've not seen they've not really put out a whole lot of technical data yet, and I've not seen
Okay.
them run yet. So I really, as of right now, based on things I've seen so far, I do not know why you would
Anybody would
spend.
get the
Yeah,
full green speed.
yeah. I don't know why somebody would spend $8,000 more to have the 23 SEER installed versus the 20 SEER. Unless there's something in the 23 SEER that I don't know about yet, or once some of the documents come out better on the new lines of equipment that outlines it that I've just not seen yet, I have no clue, honestly.
Okay.
Because, I mean, the only thing, I mean, prior between the 5 stage and the green speed, I mean, there was really only two things that was different, and that was the 5 stage had poor heating performance comparatively, and the 5 stage only has 5 stages versus the green speed being fully variable. So it's
Right.
load matching and uh, heat pump cold temp heating performance. And unless one has, okay, let's see, the baby's, yep. That's what I have come to as well. Like the price difference is so drastic that I don't see right now why you actually would take it. Like honestly, right now when I'm pricing these, I'm like, I kind of don't want you to get it, honestly. Now, if you want it, I'll sell it, but I I don't know.
That sounds strange. Sounds strange that they even bothered building it.
I mean, I've not seen if I've seen them side by side, I wonder if, I mean, honestly, I would imagine the only efficiency difference is probably going to be the condenser coil being bigger on the 23 SEER versus the 20 SEER. So maybe it's just bigger coil.
It's going to
Uh,
save you $60 a year on energy.
yeah, maybe.
Right.
I mean, what's the difference in 3 SEER points? I don't know. And when I get done setting it up, it's not going to be functioning at neither 20 or 23 SEER anyways because I'm leaning on dehumidification, which kills
Right.
the efficiency anyways. So it's like I don't even
Right.
care about that.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
so it just again, I kind of feel like honestly that a carrier is probably price anchoring to contractors the same way that I'm price anchoring to homeowners,
Right.
being like, hey, you want the 23 SEER, the highest SEER rating of all equipment? Sure, we'll sell it to you. It only costs $12,000.
Well, so that actually makes some sense to me. They're actually trying to lean on the baby green speed so that they can produce a whole ton of them.
Hmm.
And by producing a whole ton of them, they're going to be able to make economies of scale that help them on their cost side.
Yeah, maybe so.
Hmm. Austin, you got any questions for us? Things going okay for you? Did you send me your numbers? I didn't look. Oh, Reedy just he's not going to be able to make it tonight, but his numbers are 118 leads, 66 sold. Um, he's at $1 million for the year. Average sale is $15,150. Revenue per lead $8,600.
Wait, what'd you say his revenue per lead was?
8,600.
86. Okay.
And I know Reedy has been the guy to beat for people.
Hmm.
Um,
Good luck.
well, I think Ronnie beat him. Last month Ronnie sold 500,000, and
God.
I don't have all of his last month numbers off the top of my head, and I definitely don't know his year to date.
That's
Um,
crazy.
but he did 500,000 with, well, interestingly, um, he had 60 leads.
Dang, 60 leads.
Mhm.
That's a lot of leads.
That's a lot of leads, but apparently the guy that gets all the turnovers for the company had 86 leads.
Yeah,
So, I
which I
mean,
mean,
but that's, if you're, like, running if you're a one-man band, I mean, it's sorta hard to do more than 2 leads a week, isn't it?
yeah. I mean, if you're a one, see, for me, it's hard because, like, let me look at, I think my numbers were, it's honestly, it's
Well, and
laughable
then you gotta go
comparatively.
service, and you got,
Yeah,
people with
because
breakdowns and
yeah. So for me, and this is only residential leads, so
right,
I've only have so much time. So like, I've ran 9 leads for the past 6 months compared to Ronnie's 60 in
right,
one
in
month.
1 month.
Uh, Now I will say, like, if Ronnie's not getting all of the tech gen leads, because
He is not.
I
I
can
think
see
he's
turnovers
eh
being
right,
easier because like they're already, the service tech has already like softened them to knowing, okay, you need a new unit. They kind of have a direction they're already going and they're ready
I
to
looked
go.
at the numbers. He told me about the overall company, and it looks like, the 30% closing on, a marketed lead is a good number, and 48% closing on a turnover is a good number. So, you are much more likely to make a sale with a turnover, and the average sale on the turnovers are also higher. So if you're getting turnovers, you're gonna get higher average sale and higher close rate.
Yeah. And also I would imagine if they were to track the amount of time spent for the sale, I bet it would be shorter sales timeline as well.
I hadn't thought about keeping track of, visit to close. Um, but I guess I'll ask Eric. I'm sure that we could track that.
Yeah, that might be pretty tricky to track because you're gonna have to remember to that's another thing to hit to remember, in order to track that.
Right, but when somebody goes in and says that it's closed, then and it has a date field next to it, they can just enter the date. So we just have
Yeah.
to have a date field
Okay. Okay. So
next
you're
to
just
close.
wanting to track like the day, not necessarily like how many minutes did someone spend on
Oh,
this particular lead. I guess that was what I was referring to, more of
yeah.
like time spent doing it. Because I would imagine if you're a salesperson and if you're running the majority of tech turnover, you can probably run more leads in one day had they not be tech turnovers type thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I could be wrong, but I just know for me it would, and also this I might be
I
skewed
wish
because
Austin got more, free
yeah.
more, marketed leads,
Mhm.
and or more sales calls in general, because I think he's mostly who they send on comfort consults.
Mhm.
Um, and breaking that mindset, because they sort of, it's a legacy mindset from the situation they had set up with Jeff.
Mm.
Like, he was the fixer, and
Yeah.
so Austin's the fixer also, um, and to some extent, Ronnie is too. Much smaller office, so I don't think as nearly as much of his time gets sucked up on fixing. That's the other thing, is like keeping track of how many callbacks there are after the install is going to possibly impact how many comfort consultants they need.
Mhm.
So they start using the HVAC sales process for all the salespeople, probably the callbacks is going to significantly diminish. And so they won't need to lean on Austin, at least for bad mistakes at the sale. You know, sizing is going to get fixed by likely load range, um, offering of the static pressure. If Austin is called out, he's not going to have to figure out what happened because he could just go to the report. You know, he won't have to figure out. I think they spent a lot of time trying to reconstruct what happened at the sale when there were problems,
Yeah.
and that'll be avoided because Austin will just be like, "Well, send me the report you sent the homeowner, so I can see how your sales visit went." You know, and if the salespeople are following the process, they probably will have responsibly avoided responsibility for some things that the homeowner forgot. 'Cause Ronnie's doing that a lot. People calling back later with complaints that are things that they either didn't tell him at the sales visit or told him they would be okay living with it. You know,
Mhm.
he is going 3 deep when people buy equipment that he thinks is gonna be a mismatch for the complaints they talked about. "Are you sure you don't? Are you sure?" Like, Remember you told me this, and this equipment may not do that as well as you're hoping." Um, you know, don't wanna make a 15 to 20-year mistake that this is one of the things that you said that you were hoping your new equipment would solve that your old equipment didn't solve. Having all that documented prevents that whole, "My old equipment didn't have this problem," which is, um, you know, a non-argument, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
but it's not a non-argument if you haven't explained to them that the new equipment is different than the old equipment and has to be sized appropriately. It's really much more important, and it doesn't dehumidify as well. I mean,
Mhm.
you need to make sure those things, um, are conveyed.
Yeah.
So, um, I don't know what else. How's your, CRM software?
I finally got the beta version of the Android app, so I've actually been able to use it to its fullest extent, and
Oh,
so far it's been pretty nice.
oh, that's awesome.
Um, I think in my area, people are not very tech savvy, so like this software, it has the ability to like send out a text automatically to the homeowner saying, the tech's on its way, and they can track to see, where I'm
How
at,
far away you are?
yeah, and
Oh,
that
that's
sort of
really
thing.
slick.
So things like that is interesting. Having a a portal online to where they can go look at the schedule, see what's available, book times, that
Oh,
sort of thing.
wow.
Yeah, and so a lot of things like that. People have been getting some good feedback there.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Hmm.
And then your marketing? You said that you're doing more in Google and not
Yeah,
gonna do pay per click, or what was it?
I'm going to be doing Google local service ads with Google. I think it's like Google LAS. Essentially, it's where if you're in an area and you search, HVAC services near me, there will be sponsored. uh, like contact pieces that's right above the organic search. That's where those people pop up, and it's a pay per call type
Okay.
format. So my area is $30 to $40 per call. So gonna be in nobody in my area is really doing very much online. There's not much of an online presence and such, and so
So how are they finding, I mean, you have the yellow pages? How do people find word of
uh,
mouth? It's word of mouth.
word of mouth, wrapped
You have to do
bands,
billboard
billboards.
advertisements? Okay.
Yeah, it's stuff like that.
The
It's
truck is sold a job?
yes,
Okay.
the truck is. Well, I mean, so far it's hard to say because I've got a few that I don't like. They said they found me on Google, but it's some of the things is I don't some I can't directly tie to the truck, but there's been two job. Let's see. Let me hold on a second. There's been $28,000 in revenue that I can directly attribute to the truck. Had I not had the truck, I wouldn't have got.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome.
and that's in 6 months. So, or
Wow.
I mean,
Since you got it wrapped.
yeah, yeah, which yeah. So that's been pretty nice, pretty fun.
Oh, that's awesome. So you need to get more trucks.
Yeah, there's actually I don't know if you remember the Southern Pipe Supply House, the one that I get the Goodman equipment from. We stopped by that time and talked
Yeah,
to
yeah,
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Um, if you remember, if you pull out of that parking lot going back towards the main highway, there's a Hardee's right on the corner. Right
Mhm.
beside that Hardee's, there's a car lot. They've got a non-foundation all-wheel drive Cybertruck for sale.
Really? Did you
Yeah.
find out how much?
No, I drove through. It was today. I had to go pick up some equipment, and I drove back through, and I'd seen it, so I pulled in and was just trying to see if they had any pricing on it and such, but they didn't.
Oh, that's
But yeah,
awesome.
but yeah, if I went,
Non-foundation, what's up with
yeah,
that?
I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know. I will say I was very disappointed with the long range version of the Cybertruck. They took out way too many features because that was like I was kinda
Well, not
hoping that
having the power and
yes.
not having the tonneau cover. Does it have the
T
suspension?
No.
Okay, so I think not having the suspension is okay,
I would be
but the
okay with with it being standard suspension. I'm even okay with no tunnel cover, with having just the soft tunnel cover if you
Oh,
want that.
really?
I
Okay.
would be okay with that. Not having power outlets to me was a huge miss.
That
Uh,
seems like a really dumb mistake because 'cause you're trying to
yeah.
appeal to people who are gonna be using it as a work truck.
Yes.
And that
That was
little dongle plugging into the, I mean,
mhm.
and I don't know, you probably have never used a 220 outlet. So, probably the dongle with its 2 outlets will work for people. It's just sort of a drag.
Yeah, I think because there are times that I mean, obviously the 110 that gets used quite a bit. Um,
In the
but
cab, so they don't have it even in the cab.
no,
Right, so you don't even have it in the cab. I
yeah,
use those plugs.
I use it all the time because I'm constantly charging batteries.
Charging
If I'm,
batteries.
I mean, I've had a scenario
I
where
think it's a mistake they don't have a plug in the front. Is there a workaround for that? Because there's a power tap up there, right?
uh, I'm really not sure. I do wish when I first got it, I thought there was one because from remember because I'm like that's the perfect place for it,
It
because
is.
but no, there's not one there. But something that actually I'd used the uh, the 240 a
Oh,
little
so
bit
you
back.
have used the 240.
Yes, it was quite an interesting scenario where someone had a mobile home they were moving, and they had dates lined up when I needed to go out, disconnect the unit, take it with me to for them to move and stuff. I get out there, no power.
Oh,
Now, which I know. yes, I could have also easily just plugged a extension cord in the back of the truck at the 110 and used my recovery machine and pulled it all out. For these, I typically try to just pump the system down, pump all the refrigerant into the condenser, valve it off, and then disconnect it from there to store everything all in
Let the
one.
system do it. So you
So,
had to power the system.
yes, so I plugged up, I had a 240-volt outlet, like wire that I just wired into the unit, plugged it into the back of the truck, pushed in the contactor, pumped all the refrigerant down, valved it off, cut it loose, and took it with me. So
Oh
it's
my
like,
gosh.
there are scenarios like that where, and if
So that
and it,
saved you hours, right? Or how much? That's a lot of time that would take to and jugs.
yeah, I mean it saved time. It's in which if you didn't have a Cybertruck, you wouldn't have had the option to do the recovery machine anyways, because you got to have 120 volts from somewhere. So it's like
Mhm.
no matter which way, like and it's like times like that where you use it one time and it's like, okay, it was worth having for that one
Okay, it
scenario.
just paid for itself.
Yes. And
Yeah,
so to me, like not having that, it went from like I, as I start adding trucks to the fleet, like that's exactly what I'm gonna get to like now it's not even an option. Like,
right.
I will buy fewer of them and just get the
You
all-wheel
can't
drive.
drive down the highway with a dongle hanging off the side
No.
to charge your I mean, that's the thing is you got all of these tool batteries that you wanna charge.
Yeah.
Um,
And
we
depending
went
on
mountain biking and one of the bikes was low and I had the charger and I just plugged it in to the bed.
Mhm.
And, yeah, that's a big miss.
Yeah.
That dongle only works when the car's staying still,
Yeah.
and it's
Because
not 220.
yeah, it's
Hmm.
yeah.
Did you use the shade yet?
I've had it up for a week and a half now. Whenever it was I last talked to you about it, I put it up a few days after that.
Okay.
Um, I mean, I notice a little bit of a difference. It's not huge, but also my roof is ceramic tinted, so
Oh, right, right,
it
right.
it
Okay.
kinda
So that might
skews things.
already
Yeah. So I think it it does make it I mean, it makes it darker, obviously, so it's like,
is that
you
good, bad, or you're not sure?
it's it's not too bad, honestly.
Okay. You
Uh,
don't miss being able to I mean, it's behind you, so you're never looking
yeah.
at it.
Yeah, well, I guess the only where that is useful is since my truck's tinted, if the sun is directly upward and it's beaming down through the roof, you can see in the truck a lot easier. So, like,
Oh,
if I pull up to
okay.
Lowe's and stuff, like, and or, I mean, if I'm out and about, sometimes if I'm, somewhere, I'll have, valuable things just laid about, guns
Mhm.
potentially laid about. It's like, I don't want it super easy for people to just look through and see what I have, in my truck. So
The
that is a
hilarious thing
positive.
is they're not getting in even if they
Yeah.
try. I mean, like,
Yeah.
you gotta have a crowbar to get through those windows. You
Oh,
can't
yeah.
just break the window. You have to actually
Yeah.
use a crowbar.
Yeah.
But
And
but it would still be broken. You wouldn't like it.
oh, oh yeah. Oh, I would still be pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would still be kicking the shit out of somebody, but
I don't wanna drive around with my windows cracked. I don't think they sell many of those cracked window appliques. Um, there was something else I was gonna ask you. Uh, it'll come to me. I've gotten a lot of those, that track. I got a lot of those little things,
Oh, nice.
and that's nice for tying the bikes down because 'cause
Oh
they're,
yeah.
like, at knee level,
Mhm.
and you can adjust them, and so that's been kinda cool.
Yeah. I'm pr I
And they were cheap. You get them at Amazon, like
Oh,
10 of
wow.
them for 20 bucks.
Oh, dang. Well, I'm buying some like as soon as we get done here
Yeah,
because that was because I the Foundation series it came with a two of them
those
and
very robust ones. Yeah, so
yeah.
this is for tying this isn't for tying a unit. This is or yeah, I suppose you
Okay.
could, but, you know,
Okay, so it's not as robust as the Tesla ones.
the ones that I got just have little, like, key rings on them.
Mhm.
And so I just use those quick straps. So I
Mhm.
hook the quick strap under there and then to the bike and then snug and probably only has like 20 pounds of pressure on both sides at the most.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Because I've found those to be very handy. I've
they're
just kinda I put them.
really
Yeah, I put them in places where I use like I strap things down uh like most of the
these
time.
are spring operated, so they're really easy to move too. It's not
Mhm.
like you have to crank them.
Which didn't the long range truck, didn't it lose some of that? Like, it doesn't have that track
Oh
on
my
the inside,
gosh.
didn't
Really?
it? I
They lost the
think s
track too?
I
Oh,
think
so
it
you have to buy they offer the track as an option for 250 bucks, and that's probably why.
okay.
And it's not
Yeah.
black, it's like
Oh,
silver.
crap. Now I need to relook at what the
I am not happy with how with the interior lights.
you
Kinda
don't
dark in the truck.
it is yeah,
Hard to
it
see
is quite a
things, hard
dark.
to find things on the floor.
Yeah, which I wonder are those can you how I don't know how bright those get. I've not really messed with the brightness
Of
of them
those
a whole
interior
lot.
lights, I think they
Yeah.
have, like, 2 settings, and both of them
Mhm.
aren't very bright. Um, I'm constantly like, "Oh, I need a flashlight because all this stuff's dark in here."
Mm.
And I can't for the life of me figure out the suspension. It seems to wanna go all kinds of different whatever levels and whether it remembers and, you know, pulling in the garage, it's really I can go in mediums. If I went in high, I'm gonna hit the roof.
Yeah.
And, you know, low is, like, definitely making it in. And if I had the bikes on the back, I could go in low and the bikes will get in too.
Huh. Well, maybe they do have outlets on the inside because I was re-looking at the differences and it said that there's no bed outlets and it specified
Oh,
bed. So maybe there are, which that I mean that would make it better.
oh, huge.
Let's see. No bed outlets, no air suspension, standard bed lamps, so it doesn't have the LED strip down the side,
Right.
which
It's cool,
that's a
but who
bummer.
who cares?
I kind of like that. I like
You
that
need to
just
have light, but you don't need
yeah.
to have it be cool light.
Yeah. I do think it especially at night having because it's I don't know, if maybe if the standard bed lamps, if they brighten things up the same as that, then sure, I don't care at
Yeah.
that point, but I will say it does a really good job at
Well,
lighting things up at night.
With ProPack, the way that you use it, it probably is nice to have the light the whole length.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, cloth seats, which is whatever, no rear screen, honestly,
Well,
probably
cloth
better.
seats might actually be nice.
Yeah. The towing capacity drop, that
7,000
yeah,
pounds, but
that was
7,000, like, do you ever tow more than 7,000 pounds?
not very often. I
Yeah.
mean, it's that's not a big enough deal to where it's like, okay, if you've got multiple trucks, if you just have one all-wheel drive, that can handle the scenarios where you're hauling that. And that's gonna be like, okay, you're if I was doing a say a commercial change out and there's 2 or 3 units,
Okay.
that's when, that's gonna become a factor, but me in my use case, I'm not doing that all the time. It's
Right.
just a rare. It's on a rare occasion that's the scenario. So works well for me. But I will say that 350-mile range, quite nice.
Kind of appealing.
Yes.
Mhm.
And of course, the 0 to 60 time of 6.2 seconds. Ooh.
That's everybody's work truck. I mean, that's better
That's
than most people's
yeah.
work truck,
Yeah, that's better than most people's work truck. But
but
when you've had
it would
but
be
when you
hard to swallow.
yeah, but when you've had an all-wheel drive Cybertruck as a work truck for a while,
Yeah,
that's a big deal. That's quite slow.
it's pretty slow. Although, I don't ever find myself hardly ever putting my foot down hard. I mean, things fast. For such a big vehicle too, I guess I'm just a little hesitant. Um, I did get it up to 110 the other day just to see,
Mm,
and you can't tell.
yeah.
Nothing changes. Um, but so what can you tell the difference between, like, the driving settings? Like comfort
Not
to
not
precision to and medium versus low and
not really. I and I know I don't know, maybe I'm just
to
not
ride a little better
hu
in medium?
I can't tell, honestly. Like a lot of those things, I don't know if I'm just not honed in on the details as much as some people, but like, when they did the update for the steering of, I've seen people complaining saying that the steering like is worse than what it was before and stuff, and I'm like, I can't tell. Granted, I'm not really steering the truck very often, so
Right.
so maybe that's it. I might have just answered my
Oh,
question there.
really?
That
Hmm. Yeah, that's noticeable. The FSD's not nearly as good.
as your why.
Yeah,
Mm.
like and it does weird things, like it'll turn into the wrong lane.
I this past update, what was it? 26.20 or .10, whatever it was. Whatever was initially in that, it made my FSD go retarded for it it seemingly stopped, but like it was doing like significantly bad stuff. And like not just once, but like it was in one drive that was 20 minutes long, I probably had 10 critical disengagements.
Oh, wow.
Like it was pulling up to a stop sign to turn left, and then it turns and goes into the on the wrong side of the road. And then you
Right.
correct, get over, and then I get on an unmarked road, and then it would creep into the middle, and then it would ride on the left side of the road.
Right,
And a
right.
car would start to come, and it would
And
not
it
get over.
wouldn't give way. Oh,
No,
boy.
and I mean, there was one point, no joke, it was like 5 disengagements within 2 minutes. Like, it was disengage, disengage, and I was sending it in, giving the little notes and stuff,
Mhm.
and whatnot. But yeah, I had that one ride, and then a few days passed, um, and since then, so far, I've not had anything strange to happen, but whatever was on that front end initially, it was screwing with things big time.
If you tow trailer, put masking tape over the rear camera.
Okay.
It's a pain not being able to see,
Mhm.
but FSD will work.
Okay.
Putting bikes on the back, the FSD, like, acts like a rabbit being chased by a fox.
Oh.
And if I put tape over the rear, it stops doing that.
Mm.
So it
Okay.
behaves better without the camera.
Yeah.
Um, it's fun. It's a toy, man.
Oh,
It's the ultimate, like, you just went out and bought an expensive toy, you dumbass.
yeah.
You know?
Oh,
It's,
yeah. But
uh
it's great.
it is great. It was really nice taking the bikes up to the Adirondacks and having them in the bed. Um, I'm gonna experiment with having the rack on the back because sometimes it's probably worth just throwing the bike on the back versus in the bed.
Mhm.
Um, and then, like, putting it in the bed later or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
"Well, we're just gonna go from here to here, and I'm just," you know? And so if it doesn't notice the rack without the bike, then it'd be nice to have the rack. So you don't know anything about that, the power and the frunk?
I do
It's for
not, but
accessories, so
yeah.
it's probably DC power. It's like for a winch and stuff like that.
Let me find out. See what Grok has to say. Okay, so there is a 48-volt power feed in the frunk with a maximum draw of 400 watts.
Oh boy.
So I guess if you could step up that 48 volts to 120 uh, with either a transformer, inverter, something to that nature, I mean, I
You can
guess you
put
could
plugs
add
in.
it. It's just, let's see, what uh, does it say what without doing math? I mean, when
I mean, that's 1,600 watts, right?
it's maximum draw 400 watts at
400 watts
yeah.
at 48.
Yeah. So, which the wattage will stay the same. So, what
Okay,
you're talking, four, 4 or 5 amps is going to be what your max is. So it's relatively low based on
gotcha.
from that. Which is that? Is that what it was? No, actually, it would be less than that. It'd be
So they
less than
probably
four
put
amps.
that to encourage people to build 48, uh, volt accessories.
Yeah. I don't know what. Not sure what they. Hmm. I don't know. Anyway, well,
We burned
yes.
the hour. We burned
Yep.
well through the hour.
Oh yeah. Well,
I
do we
talked
have
about
anything
stuff
else?
that nobody's probably interested in hearing. We stayed to HVAC for the first 50 minutes.
I mean, I felt like that was good enough.
I thought it was fine. I mean, it's really busy season. No, this is why we s you know, started doing them once a month during the summertime because it's busy season and it's light
Yep.
out, so people aren't indoors.
Yep.
Um, Although I would like to start getting those numbers, like having people report numbers, because I think that those numbers are gonna help people that are interested in making the jump, be motivated to m make the jump.
Yeah. Which I can run through my numbers real fast because I did have that pulled up if you want to.
Okay. Yes, please.
So, granted, my new numbers are not going to be near. There's not Ronnie Reedy level, but only so so only 9 total leads ran. Um, But I did have an average job size of $16,395. I had a closing rate of 66%, average gross profit of 62%. So my
Oh, nice.
revenue per lead ran is 10,930, and my average or my gross profit per lead run was $7,286, which
Nicely
comes to
done.
a which comes to a total revenue of 98,000 and a total gross profit of 65,000.
That's amazing. Those are great numbers.
Yeah,
Um,
just got to do more of them.
just gotta, yeah.
Yeah,
Hopefully, Google will help you with that.
yeah.
Do you have a lot of commercial stuff in the pipeline?
I've got right now in the pipeline. There's one. Uh, it was just not really. I mean, it's sort of HVAC related. It's more of just large ventilation fans for a boiler room.
Okay.
I don't know when that's supposed to happen, but it's basically there's a project underway in which is extending out a boiler room, making it bigger, going from one boiler to three boilers. And so, as soon as they get basically the building done, the boilers in, and everything else, then I will come in to do that. And so, I don't know
Okay.
when that'll work. And then I've got
Are they going to do any kind of energy recovery?
no,
They got that much heat.
yep.
They going to run those in the summer?
um, Potentially, because those boilers are not comfort. It's not for like heat comfort heating. It is for manufacturing.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what those boilers what they're feeding to, and what is that something that runs during the summertime or not? I'm not sure there, but
Okay.
uh, so
So, right, are the boilers needed to step up the loss in the winter, or are they primary?
yeah.
Um, Interesting. There's a guy that does manufacturing here. He recovers heat at each step and then uses, like, he uses the really high heat and then recovers some of it for his lower heat applications, and then recovers it for lower heat, and then recovers it for heating the building if it's wintertime, that
Yeah,
kind of thing. Um,
yeah, they're not that level of sophistication.
no,
At
no,
this
but
place.
it sounds like they're big enough that they might be wanting to start thinking about it if they're going to continue to grow.
Yeah, I mean they are big because of I mean of what they do. They are the biggest in the country. Actually,
Okay.
the biggest in the world, technically at
Oh,
it.
right.
So so, but yeah, and then which I've not talked to them about it in a while, but I know they had some. There was potentially going to be like a filtration job for a compressor room. Um,
Oh, oh,
I
so you got to pressurize the room too?
Well, it's not the same room. It's a different room that they have their compressors in. I don't know any. I don't. They've just mentioned it, saying, "Hey, we may have something here." So something
Okay.
could come of that if they ever just want to move forward with it. I don't know any of the details yet. I actually haven't had a sit down conversation about it, but
Mhm.
so there is a little something there. But I have been kind of not fizzling out my commercial, but I haven't been doing it as much. I got rid of probably one of my main commercial customers that I had, being that church.
The church.
I did just cut ties with that and fired them, which it's a good ways away. Didn't really want to go that far, and it,
And with the changeovers, if that changeover isn't handled properly by the guy leaving, then they're not letting people know the reason that
yeah, yeah,
you're the guy.
yeah. So,
So,
I've not been doing
but
much
that
there.
was
So
a great learning experience because
oh yeah.
places like that are gonna call you and you'll be like, "I get these calls from churches,
hmm
and this is the problem I have." A lot of times we get people that just milk this stuff along,
hmm
and it's not maintained well, and it's not serviced well, and, you know, everybody says they're broke, but they seem to be happy to spend the money at the last minute.
Yeah.
when it's, instead of ahead of time to avoid having to do that stuff. And that's just headaches for me. And so I'm gonna tell you up front that there's going to be a significant oh, JT's coming in. It's
Oh,
gonna be a significant penalty
yeah.
for emergency stuff,
Yeah. Yeah. And that,
particularly if it's avoidable.
yeah. That, and I just wanted to trying to just cut out the things that's not the primary focus, like really hone in on what the ideal customer is and focus on that, not just taking in any and everything as well. And that's what I've been doing with that. That's what I'm going to be doing, especially with Google local service ads and just more narrowly defining things. I mean, I kind of doing the whole BNI business networking group thing. I mean, I kind of wasted a shit ton of time on
Yeah.
that nonsense, but
Oh, that worked out.
yeah,
Well, each of
yeah,
these things it seems like they've worked out. Then what about
yeah.
not paperclip? What's it called? Thumbtack.
Thumbtack, it's just a better version of Angie Leads. Uh,
Okay, are you sending money to them anyway just to
not
see, or you tried
not
you're
much. I mean,
no,
I am, but it's like, I mean, I might get one lead. Well, I might get 4 leads a month max through
okay,
that, and I mean, the turnover is okay. Uh, I mean, it's not as high as just organic reach. If somebody finds me on Google, that's way better than what
right,
Thumbtack is.
gotcha,
But
gotcha.
I mean, I guess at the end of the day, like if I wanted to really ramp things up, it is an avenue to put money into. Now the Google, uh,
Looks like it's gonna be better.
that yeah, I think that's going to be way better, and it'll be something that
How about
just
Facebook?
Um, I could. That's another thing. Yeah, that's another thing that I will do as well. I'm just trying to. I've been really just testing out the different avenues, figuring out okay, which one is a good avenue in which the only question is how much money do I want to put into it, and then have
Right,
it. And then whenever it's like okay, if I hire some people on, I go okay, now I know I can take on
you
X
can
amount of
ramp
additional
this up.
work. Yeah, I'll go okay, like because with the nice thing with the Google leads is you set a budget. You don't actually like Facebook. You got to okay. I'm going to spend $2,000 and I'm going to see if I can get this back. Google
Oh,
is just say it with Google. It's I'm willing to spend $2,000. If the leads come in, then I'll pay, type thing.
right.
So so with Facebook, that'll be something that once I post some more content on Facebook, see what content pops off the best, and go, okay, I'm going to use this as an ad now, convert it to an ad, do some A/B testing, and then have like, okay, now this is ready to go. I'm trying to ramp up. Let's go put $5,000 and run this. Okay, I'm gonna put 5K into this ad, run it for a month, you know, that sort of thing. So it's a quick way of getting leads
Accelerating.
quickly. Yeah.
How long
Okay.
have you been in business, Tanner?
Uh, a little bit over 5 years.
Okay.
This isn't after. Do you wanna go to after, Jason? This
I
is gonna
don't,
go on the video.
it doesn't matter. I don't care.
Okay.
I was just asking.
I'm just letting you know because we never ended the stream,
Right.
and, sometimes you like to come to the after party.
I just got
Hey,
home.
you can talk however you want, I don't care, but just
I
know
just
that
got home,
other
right?
people might see it.
It's been busy.
Has it?
Yeah. So, like, busier than I want to be.
So you gotta bring your sons along,
Yeah. I'm going to
turn them
take,
into helpers.
yeah, I'm going to take my middle son Wednesday to do a lift on him because I need 3 people. I need a flagger, a rigger on the bottom, and a rigger at the top. So
Cool, what's the job?
it's just a package unit, a rooftop unit, change out.
On
Um,
a mall or a church
movie,
or
movie theater.
movie theater, okay.
Oh, interesting.
But
I didn't know they existed anymore.
yeah, they got
Actually,
all,
Lizzie and I went and saw F1
yeah,
at the drive-in.
that movie theater has like all these fancy seats and stuff. I guess to keep people coming back,
Yeah,
heated and cooled seats
those
and
comfy
recliners.
lean back seat. Yeah, that's
They got to keep people coming
they got
somehow.
to keep people coming, and they haven't been making good movies, so they got to attract
Right,
them with other things.
right. Yeah, I can't remember the last time I've been to see a movie. I mean, I'll wait till it comes out on Netflix or whatever.
Right, right. If it's see if
If
it's
it's
how the reviews do.
exactly. But yeah, I got a church. Somebody stole the line sets off the units. Two 20-ton condensers that
Oh, geez.
Mm.
uh, got to replace that.
How
Did it,
how how old were the units?
uh, probably close to 20 years old. So
Okay.
we're gonna replace those. And
How do you size that now based on the
same,
ductwork? I mean, do they have?
like for
They
like,
don't have. Can you do what kind of fans do they have?
they're belt drive blowers.
Okay, so it's that equipment hasn't changed.
No, it's gonna stay the same. And I found two 410 outdoor units that I'm gonna put on there and replace the line sets and hope for the best
And
because
how are they going to avoid the line sets getting stolen this time?
they're gonna put up a new fence apparently because the fence is in disrepair and hopefully they'll put some
Oh,
cameras up or something. But I mean, the thieves probably got maybe $300 worth of copper, and it's gonna cost them almost 50,000 to replace the line sets and the condensers.
wow.
So
Do you think that's an insurance claim?
yeah, they got. We told them to call the police, and they did a police report and all that stuff and
Okay.
whatnot.
Wow, that's
Did
just a
that.
lot of money. That
It is because the units didn't have low pressure switches, so they sat there and it rained that same day or all night that night.
Ooh.
So I would,
Ugh.
and there are 22 systems, so
Oh god.
oh,
it it would be it'd
uh,
be a mess trying to
the
clean it.
refrigerant was worth more than the copper.
Yeah, by far.
Oh,
So,
dummies.
but yeah, did a package unit on a house today, this afternoon. Um,
You weren't
yeah,
involved in that sale.
yeah.
Oh, you were involved in that sale. Did you try and get them to go to a split system?
No, because I don't have time to do that. People need air. People need air conditioning quick
Get
right
me
now.
air conditioning quick.
Yeah. So I changed it out with another gas pack.
Okay.
Um, we got a compressor and reversing valve to do on a liquor store. Um, what else? There's a lot of got a leaking microchannel condenser on the house today.
What's that?
It's just a outdoor air conditioner. And I found a 2.5 ton heat pump outdoor unit that I'm gonna put on it. It'll make it dual fuel
That's nice. What
because the main
what's
reason was because
microchannel mean?
it's just a type of condensing coil that the outdoor unit had on it. So
Looks like a
that's
radiator.
yeah,
Okay.
like a radiator on a car,
Okay.
and they leak a lot and badly.
I
And
thought I'd heard something about them.
yeah, I'm sure you have. They suck.
Do you just replace those, or do you fix the leaks on them for
I've
microchannels?
I've had about a 10% success rate on repairing leaks on microchannel.
Mm.
It's just, I mean, and I'm pretty good, if I say so myself, at soldering, brazing, all that kind of stuff. And it's just really it's really difficult to pinpoint exactly where it's leaking,
Mm-hmm.
for one thing. And then it's once the system's been in service for a while and then it's been leaking at that point and has oil all over it, it's really difficult to get it clean enough to get the solder to flow. And like I said, I've tried several times and I've got about a 10% success rate on getting getting it to getting the
Get it
solder to
long
take,
term.
getting the aluminum solder to take
Yeah.
and fill the hole. Most of the time, I just end up burning it up, and I mean, at that point, it's like you either make it or break it. I mean,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you either trash it or. And I mean, I've tried like cutting because it's in like parallel. So if you cut out a row, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And I've tried snipping them off with side cutters and filling that. And I mean, it's just really difficult to get it to flow. Now, like on an aluminum evaporator, like a tube and thin evaporator or something like that, or a tube and thin outdoor unit,
Mm-hmm.
I can get it clean enough and fix it there. But for whatever reason, the microchannels just don't like to be repaired.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's just,
They're just shit.
yeah.
Like, they're just crap. They're absolute garbage.
It's just really thin aluminum.
It's
That,
very thin. I mean, it's like
Soldering a beer can.
worse than
yeah.
that. I mean, it's like aluminum foil.
Yeah. Well, no joke. Whenever I do an aluminum repair, I always do like a couple of practice runs before I actually do the repair because it's so easy to burn a hole in it.
Yeah.
I get a Coke can. That's what I'll poke a hole in a Coke can
Right.
and and kind of get the feel for it. Do it a few
Right.
times until I'm like, okay, I'm good, and then I move over to the coil. Like
Yeah.
that's it. Like
Yeah.
it takes such little heat that it'll go from like it's not the solder won't
Not.
run
Yeah.
to hole in the coil in just a split second. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. It's real. And like I said, like on a tube of aluminum, you can get it to a certain point, but on those microchannels, it's like the only thing making the microchannel coil sturdy is the shape of it, like the
Right,
hexagonal
right.
or
The,
whatever
the,
the
the
shape of it.
shape that it already has
Yeah, that's what's
is
making
its
it strong.
structure.
So you get it hot to where it's close enough to
So all just wants to.
yeah, it's just like it just falls apart.
Yep.
So, but yeah, we've got a bunch of stuff on the books right now that
Your dad's staying busy then.
yeah, I mean he's been helping me work because I mean it's been
Busy.
90 to 100 every day
Yeah.
for the past 2 or 3 weeks. And then we got 2 new construction jobs going on at the moment that they're barking at me, wanting me to get to rough. And what else? Uh, I can't even think right now. It's been,
And
but
then
there's
all
other
the sports
things.
are over with, right?
And do what?
All the sports are over with.
Oh no, we play
Oh,
sports all year long.
you got a
We play
sports one?
baseball all year long,
Okay.
except November through February through end of January. So we get about 2.5 months off of base. But
So what's been y'all's next goal? Like you trying to just find some people to be able to train up and kind of get a little more hands off of in the field stuff, or just
I mean,
what are y'all doing there?
we have hired 2 people, but neither one of them worked out. So, I mean, I'm open to hiring people, but
Is there a school near you?
yeah, and we've tried that in the past. There's 2 tech schools that both have HVAC programs.
Yeah,
They're,
if the
they're used,
instructor's not good, then it's
yeah,
and most aren't, unfortunately.
yeah. So they haven't really panned out. There's been a couple of guys in the past that I missed on. I should have got, but I missed on them because I don't know. But
Communication, I think it was. You didn't have a clear agreement with them, and so they use you to shop against their current employer or something like that.
well, I've had that, yeah. But I'm talking about guys that I could have got right out of tech school that were good, and
Oh,
I
okay.
just
Mm,
missed on
Hmm.
them. And now they have their own companies, and they've tasted that piece of the pie, and so why would they work for somebody else? But I can also, I mean, we have good relationships, so I can call on them if they need work or whatever, then I can give them hand off work to them or whatnot, stuff like that.
yeah.
Um,
How's your pay compared to people around? Is there kind of some big shops around that can just really outpay a lot of the smaller guys?
it's there are, yeah, but
Mm,
there's a couple, but they're not great places to work at, from what I understand.
mm,
And I think the biggest thing is like manufacturing jobs and stuff around us that pay really top dollar with benefits and all that kind of stuff. It makes
mm.
it difficult to get good guys
Yeah,
because I can't offer help. I mean, I could, but
yeah. Well, I mean, if that was what was holding it back, I mean, crap, it
yeah,
might be worth it if you could be able to get really good people to, you know, take a lot of the workload off of you of doing a lot of the stuff. But
yeah,
that is the hard part. That's you know, it's kind of funny, like when looking at what like Ronnie and Reedy and like the types of revenue numbers they're able to bring in.
right,
It is kind of like, you know, us being just small shop owner operator type things. It's like
yeah.
I'd like to be
It's
able to
hard.
mostly run sales calls that I could, you know, really bring in a lot of the money and have people that I could trust to go, hey, you know,
Yeah,
I'll go, I'll kill the deer, I'll bring it back and you skin it type thing.
yeah. That would be nice. It really would be. But finding those people, I don't know. The I mean, the quality, unless you have quality assurance, some type of quality assurance, then it couldn't be. I don't know. I don't know how they do it, to be honest with you. Bigger companies like that, where they
Yeah.
have 15, 20 install crews, and they can go in there and sell a job and expect it to be done the way that you sold it.
Yeah. But they're usually doing such terrible work that there's
That's the thing. That's what I
so
said
much.
about when you asked, are there other larger companies around? Like, yeah, but most of their installs are very poor.
Yeah. Yeah. Which,
And
I
they
mean,
charge primo money for it, but they don't get primo
yeah.
work.
Are you hearing any more? Remember we heard about that lawsuit in North Carolina, that Virginia attorney? Anybody hearing any more about that stuff?
No, I haven't.
I've not been online enough to really catch wind of anything if if it has.
Too busy to, yeah. That'll be fall. That'll be fall. We'll hear about that stuff.
Hmm.
Everybody's just running.
Yeah.
Mm.
Right now is the time when all the mistakes are happening, and then it'll be the
Yeah,
fall when the lawsuits will
All, all circle
ramp
through.
about up. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's feast or famine.
Well, do we want to wrap it up and head over to the after show?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, thanks everybody for coming out. We'll catch y'all again in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.